Hello, welcome to Dota 2 Weekly Update, Episode 10. My name is SUNSfan. Joining me is Reaves, and replacing Xeno for this week because he's in the great country of Canada. I think that was kind of a joke. Bruno, the stat man. How's it
Da,
going,
da,
buddy?
da.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Excellent. How are you? How have you
I'm
been
doing
post
great.
I2?
It's been great. I mean, you've seen me here and there, and as I was telling before, I'm kind of low profile, guys. I didn't want to go with all streaming and stuff, and people really wanted me to do some stuff. But I mean, I'll just show myself. I'll be kind of like Tequila, like a drop at a time, not too much, because you can get too much Bruno, and that's not something you like.
We've actually been getting a lot of comments on like all across the board on videos to get you on a show, so it's nice to finally get somebody that people ask for, because usually they ask for things and we just can't do it.
Yeah.
They ask for God all the time. It just doesn't happen. We can't get him down from the sky, you know. Actually, we should. This is gonna be completely out of the blue, but you and Reaves would be excellent on a show together. I feel like.
You
Maybe
think
guys
so?
can work something out. Yeah.
Well,
Slow-mo
Reaves.
high five, eh?
Yeah, whenever you want it.
All right.
So what you're saying, Bruno, is once you move to America, then you'll become more high profile and you'll start streaming and ordering strippers and hookers and all that good stuff, right?
Exactly, all that stuff and more. And I will live stream that, and people will love it.
Oh, that sounds
People
awesome.
that don't even play Dota. Yeah, sure.
I'll donate to that. No problem.
Sounds great.
All right. So anyway, this is gonna be. I don't know how long this video is. I say this every time, but this, as people may or may not know, is one of the biggest patches we've ever had. So this could take a while. So let's just dive into it right away. First thing I want to go over is the addition of one of my favorite heroes, Magnetar, who's now known as Magnus.
Super excited.
What is Magnus the?
Magnus the Magnetar. Yeah.
No, he's not the Magnetar anymore.
Oh, he's a Magnosaurus, but
Yeah.
it's
Magnus.
whatever. It's
It still says Magnetar
it's
on the blog.
yeah, I don't know. It's an elephant rhinoceros kind of thing. Very furry.
So it's a rhinocephont.
Yeah, I like that. Rhinoceros.
Yeah.
That's
That-
how it should
that's
go.
what we're gonna go with.
Yep.
All right, fair enough. What do you guys think about how he looks?
Very woolly, I say.
Yeah, he does kind of look like a woolly mammoth of sorts, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's really nice. I like the spear thingy that he has. Looks very menacing. But the main thing is his horn, right?
He's what?
His horn.
Oh yeah.
The nose.
Is
yeah.
The horn's amazing.
I just think of his nose. It's not technically his nose. I don't think. I don't see any nostrils.
Yeah.
Are those his nostrils or is that his mouth? I can't tell.
No,
With the
those
base.
are his nostrils at the base, and then he has a mouth.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He has a ring.
I
in
like
the
his
horn.
pigtails.
Yeah, very cuddly. It's kind of like a
For
Viking
everyone else
feel.
that was picturing them as a beard, I'm happy I could ruin that for you.
What do you guys think about how I don't know. I know Reaves hasn't seen it because he's just useless. But Bruno.
Yay!
Oh, by the way, I forgot to preface this entire episode by saying Reaves is mildly drunk. So we'll see. If we can...
You didn't have to tell everybody.
Now they know.
I was
Now
doing-
they know.
I was doing so well.
Now you're gonna sound like a drunkard to everybody.
Shut up.
All
Shut
right, anyway,
up.
what do you think about the way the spells look, Bruno?
They look amazing. I like the way that they went with the blue theme. Like the Empower gives you blue hands, the Shockwave is a blue wave, and the Ultimate is this blue thingy. I don't know how to describe it.
That's a great way to
But
describe it.
yeah, it's a thingy, big thingy. Anyway,
His horn glowing is the greatest thing ever. This one.
yep. And I don't know. I mean, I think that Valve nailed this one. They've been hit or miss every once in a while, but this time I really like the hero theme overall.
Reaves, from the pictures, what are your impressions?
Uh,
They're so
like I said, so shiny. But the horn is amazing. I don't know what spell makes that happen, but I am gonna be doing that a lot. So
Good to know.
Yeah,
I think
unfortunately,
that's
it's
his
just
charge.
for a frame. Yeah, it's a charge, and it's just for a couple frames, so you won't be able to see it like in the screenshot. But it's really cool, anyways.
well, now I'm just depressed.
The one thing that people have been complaining about very early on, there's actually been polls already, is that his ultimate isn't menacing enough, at least the visual effects. Do you agree with that? I mean, by the pictures, it looks. I mean, it doesn't last that long. Like this is a couple frames as well. You don't really see
Yes.
that as much, but
Well, I mean, you have to remember that in Warcraft 3 there was no effect at all. It was
Yeah,
just
that's
like
exactly.
you stomp the ground and people would get together. So it's an improvement from there. I don't know what people expected, the ground to sink or something like that. I think that would be too much. I'm kind of happy with the way it is right now.
Yep, I agree. People kept I think there was a link to an animation from Dota 1. I looked at like, wait, there's no animation. I don't remember an
Yep.
animation. There still was no animation. So yeah, very
He
odd.
just kind of lifted his spear up in the air and shoved it back onto the ground. Everybody got sucked in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Know that people had me for this, but it kind of reminded me like you played Han, the Flux Ultimate.
Oh,
kinda
you're
had
right.
the same effect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sorry, I mean I played Han. I have to admit that I don't play anymore. Cured.
You better
But
not.
it
Yeah. God.
Kinda looks like that.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't even think about that until now. That's very true. Moving on to I think people have been kind of hung up on the way Magnetar's spells look, and they've been a little bit disappointed that nothing has come of Anti-Mage's new look, which is similar to what they did to Enchantress, which everyone hated with a passion. They made him a little bit paler. I don't think he looks as good, and I know there's a reason that they're doing it. I don't know what it is, but what do you guys think about Anti-Mage?
Well, he's really buff, I have to say. I mean,
Are you attracted to that kind of man?
No, it's not my style. I like skinny guys.
Oh, okay. So,
So
neither
I'm
me and
out.
Reaves are out yet.
It looks
But-
good. I like all the work they're doing with most of the models. I'm happy that they're taking the time to make those little changes that people want so much.
Yeah, he really looks angry though. I mean, I'm playing with the slider right now, and he's like sulky, angry, sulky, angry.
Well, he's sick of getting banned.
I would
He
be
doesn't
angry at
get
that.
banned anymore. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Maybe from a year ago, Reaves.
It's-
That's why they have the stats guy on. I don't know.
You should catch up. There was a
How-
tournament, very
how
interesting.
often
The
is he
international
banned?
too. Not too often really. I say about 10% of the matches, or even less.
10%.
Yeah.
10% right, Reaves. It's better than usual.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Let's see what we got here. We have brand new icons. It seems like they're redoing a ton of them, some of which I didn't even think they were going to end up doing. Like Axes, for example, I thought looked fine. They redid those and look even better. Beastmasters, you could see that kind of coming. And then Snipers, which I keep saying are the worst icons in the game, have now been catapulted up to amazing status.
Yep. I just want to say you have to look at Beastmaster's Roar, and just look at it, and tell me whatever comes to your mind.
BJ.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't like his old icon either. It's just like, oh, I'm looking at his mouth. That's kind of sensual. Now it's even more sexual in nature.
Yeah.
Glory hole.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, what else can they do? I mean, he's supposed to be roaring, you know?
Well, but I mean, you don't know if he's roaring or sucking something because you don't see any direction in the wind. Maybe they should make it so that it goes outward.
I think somebody needs to make a GIF with a pole or some other cylindrical object going through that glory hole that Reaves loves so
Well,
much.
I think the reason it looks like he's sucking on something is because they left his teeth out of the frame completely,
Yeah.
like the sharp teeth
Yep.
and he's preparing himself.
Indeed.
It is weird. It is weird.
So aside from that icon, we're good with everything else, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the poison is now like a mucus or something like that. If you, no, that's the old one. Sorry, that's much better. Never
Yeah, the
mind.
old one's like splooge, but green, kind of.
Yeah.
The new one looks more like venom. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm totally up with it.
I like
Hey.
how for headshot on Sniper they chose a German guy to get shot in the head for some reason.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
random.
right.
I don't mind it. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the old icon. Like, seriously.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
much better, but still, like, why German guy, huh? Hmm?
Well, he had to be some guy from some nationality.
Well,
German was a safe
you wouldn't
bet.
have known what he was at all if they just took off the spike on the top of his helmet.
That's true.
Oh well.
They also, I didn't even see this, they updated Leshrax. I was actually complaining about, not complaining, I was just saying that the new icons from Lesh were good, except for his Diabolic Edict. It didn't have enough oomph in it, and looks like they've definitely added some to that. So it looks a lot better.
Yep, that's right. And they also changed the Weaver icons. Not only the icon, but the swarm is not anymore these small beetles, but now are like these face huggers from the Alien movie.
Yeah.
Which
Now
Hey,
this
that looks
this is the most
nice.
this is the most interesting visual change, I think, because I haven't seen it in game yet. But it's the old animation, the old effects plus these things. It looks like, so it just looks like a lot of stuff going on at once. So
Yep.
I'm not sure how I
It's
feel. I do like the big. I prefer the big guys over that latch on. It makes more sense.
hmm
Let's see how it looks in game though. Reeves,
Yeah.
what does it remind you of?
Alien, the same thing. I think it'll look fine in game. It's not. I'm not worried about a bunch of small changes or anything. I like them.
Yep. They're nice. I mean, you have to think that in the screenshots you're seeing, the zoom is maxed out, so they're much smaller than they actually
True.
look in the Cyberpunk page.
True. Very
So,
true. All right.
The blood effect on them looks great.
That's not blood.
yeah,
Semen.
it's biting its leg. Red semen?
Alien semen.
If your semen is that color, you might want to
Every bodily fluid that leaves my body is blood.
just bright rave red.
Yeah. Cool.
Quickly, we don't have to talk about this too much, but there's also a Team UI thing being put in tomorrow, or I guess when this video comes out, it's going to be today, to create your own team. So that's going to be, actually they replaced the socialize tab with the team tab completely. So I'm guessing when they end up doing like a tutorial type thing, which there's information here about that we won't go over because there's not much, they'll probably put that in the Learn Dota 2 tab as well. So interested to see what they do for in-game stuff like that.
I didn't even know there was a socialized tab.
That's
So-
because you're not a social Reeves.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it didn't have anything in it for you because you didn't have any friends.
Yeah.
it's gonna be like this, huh, Bruno? That was quick, man. You jumped right on that bandwagon.
You left it just there.
Yeah.
He always
So
does.
what's next, there, Almighty Host?
What's that?
I said, what's next, Almighty Host?
Well, the last thing for Cyborg Matt's blog, which I forgot to mention, thanks to cyborgmatt.com for supplying these amazing images and whatnot. The last thing I want to talk about before we get to the lengthy list is the unreleased custom courier, which I am so angry I didn't think of this beforehand. Baby Roshan. That sounds awesome. There's only textures for it right now, but that sounds amazing.
Yep.
Can't find picture of Baby Roshan.
Control
It's
F,
just a texture.
Baby Roshan.
Baby Roshan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just textures. You can't really see a whole lot.
Baby.
All right, we're all going to wait for
Slay.
Reeves to find it.
Yeah. Dum dum
And
dum
it
dum
looks
dum
like
dum
he
dum.
swallowed a grenade. And terrible,
And it's-
terrible things happen.
Well,
That's right.
yep. That's how textures work.
Indeed. And I guess the last thing, actually, before we go on, the next hero, which finally I hope Cyborg's right, is going to be Centaur, as he is the most finished as of now.
Oh, how giddy are you?
I'll be
SUNSfan?
playing him for like 2 weeks straight, so it's going to be great. In fact, I'm going to be
Oh,
getting,
God.
not to jump ship or not to jump categories here, but I might be getting an Ethereal Blade on him very soon just to test it out. So we'll see.
Mm.
Reeves has no idea what that means because he hasn't.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, sure. 2 ethereal blades. Yeah.
Delicious.
Anyway. Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the. Oh, go ahead, Bruno. By all means.
No, yes. I was going to point you to the changelog.
Yes, absolutely. And there have been a lot of videos on this, so we're not going to delve too deep into it. But if you're curious on more in-depth coverage, Luminous and Purge, I don't know if anybody else has done it, but they have really good videos on their channels going over this stuff in detail. But we're going to go over the stuff that makes me want to say something, which, since I'm the dictator and all. Well, the first thing, and I know I'm going to go straight to Reeves because he hasn't read anything yet. What do you think about the AoE bounty kill difference with 2 to 3 heroes?
What?
So essentially, for people who don't
AoE
know,
bounty kills?
yeah,
AoE bounty kills.
back in the day, and I'll try to explain this to you, Reeves. Back in the day, probably a year and a half ago, tri-lanes were extremely popular, and IceFrog tried to dissuade people from doing that. So he put in a method to which you get a lot less gold the more people are around, right? He's
Okay.
kind of bringing that back a little bit more to. It's not to the same level it was, so I don't think we're going to see tri-lanes as often as we did back then, but maybe a little bit more. But I think you'll see that ganking and just more aggressive play in general. That's actually the theme throughout this entire patch.
Now, is this going to be less money AoE to the people around you as well as the person who got the kill?
It's more money.
More money to the assistants. The
Ah.
person that gets actually, you as a killer, you get a little bit more money, like 4 gold per level, which is almost nothing. But the assistants that would get like 70, 90 gold, maybe 100 and something, now will get like 50% more, which is a lot.
Right. So for you, Reeves,
Gotcha.
you'll be able to afford more things because you don't actually get the kills. You'll just be standing around being useless, but you'll get
Well,
money
it's
now.
more like when I do get the kills, you're like, why did you should have not last hit him? I was going to kill him.
That sounds very much like me.
That's what you sound like.
Sounds like Adam Sandler, actually.
Well, there you go.
Also, another quick thing: the XP required for level 7 and 8 has been decreased, although level 9, I believe it is, will
Yep.
remain the same. So that means that heroes that are more level dependent in the early game to have an effect, like mid heroes, for example, that want to go gank, like a Night Stalker or whoever, they'll be able to get those levels earlier and then start ganking and be more efficient. So, again, another theme towards just aggressive play in general.
Mm-hmm.
Navi's got to be like tapping their heels together with some of these
Yeah,
changes.
that's true. And actually, I skipped a couple things here, and I want to talk about this one in depth, perhaps. The Aegis being reclaimed after 6 minutes, which I think is an amazing change. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, this is my time. I think it's okay. Like, I really like the idea of. I didn't like the idea of people going like, well, we have Aegis, we'll play safe for 10 minutes, and then we try and go. Now you have a time ticking, and you have to do something with that Aegis, or it will disappear. But the best thing about this change is like when you're the losing team and you're getting the Aegis, what you do is, as the winning team, you let them turtle for 10 minutes until that Aegis run out, and then you try to win. And that will make for really, really long games. Now, if you're the losing team and you get the Aegis, you have to do something because you can't count on those 10 minutes. And that's the great thing, because if you're the winning team, you're pushing the base, you have the Aegis. It really doesn't matter that much. I mean, of course it helps, but the problem was with the losing teams getting Aegis and just delaying the match for a long, long time.
Delaying the
That's where
inevitable.
yep, that's where the patch was spot on.
Yep, I totally agree. Reeves, any further commentary?
I mean, basically, I agree. As a viewer, much more than a player. I mean, I play for fun, but I know when it comes to games like Dota, I could literally practice every second of every day and still not be ready to play on a team. It's just the way I am with these kind of games. But
You're
as
going to
a
be
viewer,
on our team very soon.
yeah, I heard about that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But as a viewer, I like it a lot just for those very reasons. Like sometimes, like when you're watching, my favorite games are always like a lot of action, but there seems to be like if a game's going on for a really long time, it does become we have to get the Aegis and we have to hold on to it and we can stop them from killing us for another 5 minutes and get this item we've been trying to get, and it gets kind of boring. So I'm excited about it.
And then we have the captain's mode being just reversed essentially with the bans, having 2 bans at the beginning stage and then 3 bans for the secondary stage, which a lot of people were questioning what exactly that means. And I'll let you go first, Bruno, but I just want to say that I think it's well, first of all, they've nerfed a lot of the like insta ban heroes quite a bit, and we'll go over that. Like Lycan, for example, most likely won't get banned anymore. Could be wrong on that, but we'll see. So there's less bans for that, but I think it's more toward they're trying to force people to ban heroes based on the team that they're playing against, as opposed to just somebody they think that is worthy of a ban every game.
Yes. And the thing with this is that I'm not too sure if I'm on board with this change. I agree exactly that the whole idea of banning, especially the second ban phase, is like, you know what they're choosing and try to guess what they're trying to do. And I know for a fact, like people like Papi, one of the greatest drafters, I've known from him and from his opponents that they always say he knows the last 3 heroes or 2 heroes when he sees the first 3. I mean, he's so good that he knows what the enemy will be playing. So by having more bans, you kind of limit your opponent much more, and you force him to go for something different, which is always good. It's interesting. Some people say that the game is winning. It's won in the pick and ban phase. I disagree, but I think it's a half of the game. My problem with this change is that by only having 2 bans, I mean, it's okay. They nerfed some of the insta-ban heroes, but there will be others. And if you have just 2 bans, the thing is that you'll have probably 2 or 3 very powerful heroes to pick with, and we will have very static cores. Like, for example, if 675 wouldn't have happened, you go, okay, you'll probably see either Lycan or Naga Siren or Rubik every single game, and teams built around those heroes. And when you have a hero that's always there and you build around those heroes, the teams get repetitive and a bit boring. The metagame gets stale because you always do the same thing. So hopefully we won't see that because the heroes will be more or less at the same level. But if it happens that we get really powerful heroes, we'll see those in the first 2 picks for both teams every single time, and teams revolving around that. And if that happens, I would not be happy.
Reaves.
Yeah, basically, and to bounce on it, just like you said, with some of the hero reworks they're doing, or just slight buffs or nerfs here and there, they're concerned about balance in the game, especially on a competitive level, and I like that they're moving in a direction where basically it's going to be who's a better player, and not necessarily that hero is just really freaking good and we need to get it into one of our guys' hands. You're going to see people like shine even more with the heroes they're good with.
Yeah, and I think one more thing I'll add to that is I know exactly what Bruno's saying, and it is going to be interesting to see what actually happens as far as long-term effects. But the 3 bans being the second thing I think is amazing, because you can completely shut down another team based on what they've already picked. And
Yep.
just, I mean, for me, as a lot of people don't know I cast, because I don't really cast that much anymore, but my favorite part of the game, as sad as it is the pick ban, because it's just so interesting to see what people do. And that's just going to add to that, I think. Moving on, we're not going to talk about the new agility hero or intelligence hero because, well, first of all, I don't understand half the stuff that's in there, but also it has no relevance to Dota 2 whatsoever, because they're probably going to be the last 2 implemented into the game at this point. But
Yep.
Alchemist getting some interesting changes, one of which, well, his main one really is Unstable Concoction. Essentially, it's an AoE explosion. And also, the enemies cannot see the countdown, so that's pretty big buffs, just those 2.
Not being able to see the countdown is huge for that spell.
Yeah.
Because people will like dick around with you just to make you like try to wait it out and blow yourself up, and now it's going to be much harder to fuck with you.
Yep, I agree. And this also means, I'm kind of going ahead with this, but the Goblin's Greed buff was also increased, so you get more money by killing creeps. But this is interesting because now we have their ganking spells is better, and his farming skill is better. So some people will say, okay, now you can actually go ganking with him, and actually he's a really good ganker. Now I've been playing Dota 1 for the last few days and a lot. And he's a great ganker. You don't have to go farming with him. On the other hand, if you really want to go just farm in the lane and stay there for 20 minutes, you will come at 20 minutes with a full inventory because he farms that fast. So I think that the great thing about this is that they gave him so much versatility. It's not like these are the heroes that have to be played in just a way and you can't change that. But rather with Alchemist, you can play him in lots of different ways. And it's great. It's just he's really versatile. I'm really happy playing with him, and he gets lots of money regardless. So it's going to be a fun hero. I expect to see him in the metagame very soon.
Yeah. And I think one thing to add to that is his acid spray being increased in damage even adds to what you're saying, because previously you probably wouldn't even get acid spray at all because it starts out so god awful, and you want to get that. I mean, now theoretically speaking, you can go Unstable Concoction and acid spray for very aggressive type strat and not even get Goblin's Greed to begin with. So
Yep.
we'll see if it ends. I mean, one other thing to add, actually, now that I look at it, and people have been, I think they're wrong about this. Correct me because you've been playing Dota 1 now. When it explodes on himself, that explodes still in a 175 AoE, but I don't believe that stuns teammates, does it?
No, it stuns enemies. So
Yeah, okay.
you can actually, if you really wanted to, I don't know why, but if you really wanted to, you could like pop it on yourself, go to a creep wave and kill the creep wave by just stunning yourself. Because
Or
it
you
will
could
hit the
blink
creep wave.
in, huh? Right at the
Yeah,
last
but you
second?
could also, if you did that, you could also throw it on a hero. So
Yeah, but it's
that
not
wouldn't make sense.
kamikaze style. It's not cool.
Well, it's good for in place of those times where you're gonna get like stunned or something to still have some kind of outcome with it, instead of just kicking yourself in the face.
Yep. I'm just sure that you'll see lots of this in Fails of the Week soon. Very, very soon.
Oh, I'm
Can't
sure.
Wait, we haven't had Alchemist ones since like early, and none of them got in, so I'm excited.
Yeah. So I'm going to skip down this list a little bit. I know there are a lot of changes that are worth mentioning, such as Ancient Apparition having Chilling Touch not suck absolute balls anymore, but we're going to skip by and just go over a few things. Oh, Centaur, little buff there, but again, not going to... Oh, okay, so this is one thing I want to And I was so sure about this, and then I heard Luminous and Purge say something contrary to the fact, so I had to test it today, and I was correct in for Chen. So
Yep.
Test of Faith, it's reverted back to its old way, except people think this is a nerf because you have to choose one or the other. It's two separate abilities, and they do not share cooldown. So you can use Test of Faith as a nuke and then send somebody back to base, no problem. They do not share cooldown. So this is actually a really big buff for Chen.
Yes, however, the secondary skill costs 200 mana, which is much more than it used to cost. So it is kind of a nerf in terms of mana efficiency. Yes, just as like you say, you can use 5 souls in a team fight, assuming you have a creep that you can dominate close to you, and that's great. But it is a buff. But don't forget the fact that it's 200 mana, and that's not cheap, especially early game.
Yep, that's true.
You're gonna see people using it a little less aggressively and only like for defensive.
I want to go back to center just a little bit, just a sentence, which is now the double edge is an AoE. It's 190 AoE, just kind of like Alchemist's concoction. That makes him an excellent pusher. I've been trying him. I mean, you can clear creep boys with Stomp and double edge right now because you hit them both and you kill the creep boy entire. You can kill neutral camps. You can stack. I've done that as well. You stack like the big camp a lot, and once you have 3 or 4 stacks, you use both kill. You pretty much kill everything, and the other things die by turn
That's
damage.
awesome.
So it opens so many doors. He's now a real AoE hero
That's
because
legit.
and that's great about center. So
I'm happy to hear that because that is my favorite hero of all time.
yeah,
He has literally been talking about this hero since Dota 2 came out.
I've been waiting, man. I've been waiting. Valve is just teasing me, you know.
yeah.
I haven't even played him since they redid his Thorns, or what was it called? His Return Aura.
Return area.
Yeah, so it's completely buffed now. So I'm
Oh,
excited.
maybe
about
Valve will make you a statue and I'll break the hoof off.
it. Hey, you still haven't picked up your Storm Spirit. I'm not, whatever.
I'll pick it up when you find the thumb.
Not gonna happen. Did you see that, Bruno? Did you see the Storm Spirit that they gave us?
Oh yeah, I saw it. It was really good. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw it in Valve's office, and it was really good. They gave Furion to Nature's Prophet to Cyberman as well,
Yep.
I think.
Soon it's gonna be on my desk. Super excited.
Without the thumb.
Yeah, it's great.
He tried to do his. He was on my car dashboard, and he tried to do ball lightning while I was turning. So he fell off. He was a little bit buggy, and he broke his thumb. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I couldn't find it. It's unfortunate. Anyway, moving on.
I hate you.
Yeah.
Clockwork getting a little bit of a buff. Well, buffs here and there, but the main thing is the main thing that really countered him overall was force staffing over cogs, and it had no effect.
Yep.
But now that people get burned, so that's definitely a buff for Clockwork. Although people don't seem, I don't know, like these buffs are nice, but I just think he's not going to get played because his animations are so horrendous. Like it's kind of like Leshrac. Except Leshrac, actually there's a nerf with him too, but he's still going to be used because he's just so freaking good in so many situations. Clockwork, it's hard to even get a combo off. Considering you're the initiator and it's hard to get a combo off isn't good, as opposed to Lesh who gets a setup stun to start.
Yes. I was a bit excited first when I saw the force staff change because I was expecting that if you force staff, it would bounce back inside the cogs. That's not the case.
Yeah.
That would be very Pavlovian. You see, like, no, you don't force staff. You go back inside. And you learn not to do it by means of bouncing back every single time. That's not the case.
I love that. I love that. That's great. Like the salivating dog and all that.
Yeah.
Great reference, bro. Great reference.
Anyway. Well, I mean...
Psych 101.
Yep. Old times.
And here we have Crystal Maiden. I didn't want to mention this one, but it's right here. Freezing Field, which is the ultimate, from 4 to 7 seconds. Same damage, but more time to
more
use
damage.
it.
Yeah.
No, it's more damage because of the more time, but it's the same damage, per whatever. Obviously a buff, but Crystal Maiden doesn't really get that off too often. But maybe with some changes that we'll go over soon, she'll be able to pull that off.
I don't know.
Dun, dun, dun.
I saw this, and the first thing that it came to my mind is that Valve wants to make an achievement to channel for 7 full seconds.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it for 4 seconds. People stun me. People kill me before. So maybe
I think they should give people
that's
the game
change.
for free with like $100 worth of store items if you get a 7-second achievement with Crystal Maiden.
Yeah. Well, we'll be like watching like fails, and we'll see a Crystal Maiden like in the side part of the clip with somehow managed to get like a BKB and things to protect her while she actually casts her spells, and all I can think is that the other team must be terrible because anytime I play CM, I'm running around with like regular boots, wards, and SUNSfans probably yelling at me for something.
I'm yelling at you for something. That's true. Moving
Yeah.
on, Darkseer. I don't want to stay too long on this. I'm just going to mention real quick. Vacuum can no longer pull invulnerable units, so no Naga combo. Although you can technically still do it, but you need to have better communication. The one I really want to talk about though is Doombringer, and I'm very excited about this. You can devour creeps at level 1. There's some nerfs involved with devour now at earlier levels, but overall, the main thing that it seems like they're pushing for him to be a jungler, which is very exciting.
Yes, I mean, I don't think that he can be a jungler by himself because he still has 0 armor, which is
Oh, that's
nothing.
true. I
And
forgot about that. Yeah.
that
Worst
really
armor in
hurts
the
him.
game.
Yeah, worst armor in the game. But I've been like theory crafting with some guys before the patch about doing a dual jungle, like getting Doombringer and a jungler, leave him the farm and something like that. The problem was that before this patch, all you could get at level 1 was the purge, the satyr that gives you purge. So it would be really, really hard to get the right creep to go ganking with that. But now you can actually go like something like that, like get a jungler with you, you roam, do the dual roaming thing that Chinese really like to do, and also Malaysian guys really like to do, and give the farm to Doom. He just has to eat one creep, you dominate one other with Chen or Enchantress, and then you go to a lane and you win the lane immediately, and then you push the lane. I mean, the potential there, the possibilities are huge. And I'm excited about that. But as just a jungler, without pulling and just by himself, really hard.
Reaves.
All in all these changes are basically gonna they're little changes that are gonna make the game a lot more fun to watch for like just different heroes getting picked and different ways you can play heroes. So all the changes we talked about are great.
Yeah, and I think, well, one thing to add to the jungle thing is, and I think this is something they're going to probably, I still feel like they're trying to push towards him to be more of a jungler. I mean, he doesn't have to be full-time jungle, but I think the one thing that's been plaguing him, not only the 0 armor, but more so his mana capacity is just trash. Like you said, you can only use 1 creep at level 1, so like what's the point? Like if you get a centaur, you should, I feel like he should be able to use his stun level 1, for example.
Yeah, you can.
To make a level 1 gank. The other thing that they added with him is level death now deals 20% of max HP, which means it's much better late game, which is good to see because he drops off considerably. So
Yes.
fun little things here and there for Doombringer. So hopefully we see him more often because he, like Reeve said, he's a pretty exciting hero considering there's so many different combinations you can do with him just based on the creeps he eats.
He's fun to watch. I'm happy they're getting him back into the swing of things.
Next we got Drow Ranger, which people have been all over this, like this is such a huge buff, blah blah blah. The main thing being level 3 agility bonus for her marksmanship has been buffed from 45 to 60, which is quite a bit. But I feel like she already has ridiculous amounts of damage and she's never played. I don't feel like this is going to help her, but I could be wrong. What are you guys' thoughts?
I don't know. It's not really like her. I don't know what it changes for her. Like you said, like one of the biggest things is like she does a ton of damage, but you can't keep her in a team fight if you don't have enough disables, and sometimes you have to build around Drow, and you don't want to have to build around Drow.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have to go with Bloomy with this one. He was the one that said it first. That the whole idea of these heroes that get stats on his ultimate, like Centaur or Drow Ranger, are heroes that instead of peaking at level 25, they peak at level 16. So what you should try to do with these heroes is try to get to level 16 as fast as you can, and then win the game in the next 5-10 minutes, because after that your impact won't be that great. But doing those 2 or 3 levels, 16, 17, 18, you're a monster. And with this change, you're even more of a monster. So the problem with Drow Ranger, and the thing why she's not picked, I think, is that you have to build a team around that, around the time frame. You don't have a plan B with Drow Ranger. If she's your carry and you don't win in that time frame, or you get too late to 16 and the other carries are like 20 or 22, then you're lost because you're just an average hero, which with nothing too much to bring to the table.
She's a risky pick as a carry.
Yeah, and the scene right now doesn't like risky picks, so we'll see. Maybe, and now it's higher risk, higher reward, but we'll see. I'm sure that some of the most daring captains will try to put her in their lineups.
That would be great to see. I would love to see Drow in a game, but
after Bruno said all that stuff, it kind of sounds like I said something completely right for a change.
That's why I didn't
And,
make fun of you, Reeves. Good job.
I know it feels nice.
You know what, Reeves? You just say anything, and I will agree with you, and I will try to give bogus theories why you're right. So you just feel free to do so, and I'll validate
And
you.
welcome to Dotacinema, Bruno.
All right, next. And if you guys have any heroes you want to talk about in between, by all means, but I'm skipping quite a bit. Jakiro,
Yeah.
Ice Path rework. This is the biggest change. I felt like this was well, most of his spells are very long cast time, but Ice Path is still the same cast time, but now you can, like, enemies can't walk through it as it's being activated or while it's activated, which is nice. And it deals a little bit of damage to boot, so that's great to see. Do you think it's going to make any difference for this hero?
I know that people are really excited about this Ice Path change. The thing that, I mean, I was kind of unhappy to see was that it's not a stun. It's just like, well, I mean, it is a stun, but it's not a duration stun. So what I'm trying to say here is that if you throw an Ice Path and the enemy hits it just when it's 0.1 second before it disappears, he just gets stunned by 0.1 second.
Oh, really? I was wondering that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that huge. I was expecting like, okay, now you hit it and now you stun for like 2 seconds or whatever. No, it's just until the path is over. So it still needs lots of timing and but the thing that it got some damage, which is great, especially early game. And the thing that you can make it like I compare it to the Ice Wall from Invoker. It's like a you shall not pass kind of spell. And in that way, it's cool because it forces your enemy to move. And the most powerful skills in all of Dota are the ones that force your enemy to move. You see Punch Hook, you see Vacuum from Darkseer, and any spell that forces the other team to move the way you want and not the way they want are really powerful spells. And Ice Path is now one of those spells, so it has to be good.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, though, I think they're going to end up adding that feature where if you walk in, do it with like half a second left, you should be stunned for like 2 seconds still. I don't know. That is kind of weird that they didn't do that, but it's definitely a buff. And even his Liquid Fire was increased, which is arguably one of his, that's arguably his second best skill.
Yep.
Ridiculous damage, and the AoE's been almost doubled, so it's good to see. I hope to see him.
I'm happy they're tweaking some of the heroes that are fun to play, so I can branch out a little bit. And,
Nobody thinks Jakiro's fun to play.
No.
What?
Nobody thinks
He's
Jakiro's
slow. He turns slow.
I think he's so much fun to play. Well, just add it to the list of heroes for you to add before yelling, "You're so bad with blank."
Yeah, true. Well,
enough.
here's one that you'll be happy with, Reaves, is Juggernaut. His Omni Slash now kills creeps and neutrals that are not in control of somebody else in one hit. Meaning late game, his Omni Slash is a lot better, considering a lot of fights happen, in bases where there's a ton of creeps and there's no way to really avoid that. Now it's going to make... what do you guys think about this change? How big of a difference that's going to make?
Sounds like they're turning Jug into a jungler.
A very, very expensive jungler.
A very, very mana expensive jungler.
Yeah, I mean,
like
it
16,
makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's all I got from that.
you stack 11 creeps in one camp, you go Scepter, and then you kill all the creeps with one Omni Slash. That's you have something there.
That's pretty
You have to
legit.
polish it a little.
Yeah, no more of that. Oh, I'm 5 minutes away from my Battle Fury. Now I'm 4 minutes away.
There you go. So, well, actually, he can jungle to begin with. We've seen that with the healing ward. So you never know, Reaves. You never know.
I have dreams.
Indeed. Keep this. I don't want to stay too long on this, but I don't
You keep
understand.
saying that.
I don't understand. Keeper of the Light, Illuminate, max hit distance increased from 1600 to 2000. Why?
You already have to move to China to avoid it.
I know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Again, it's like the whole theme of this changelog is to buff whatever is good from the good heroes and nerf some other stuff that are not so good. But instead, people were saying like, oh, XXX spell is really good, so we should nerf them. And Iceberg goes like, no, I'll leave that spell as it is. I'll even buff it sometimes. I'll nerf something different so that if you want to play that hero, you have that. But the rest is shitty, so you have
Well,
to.
I feel like he's
Because-
already played in a decent amount. That's just why I bring that up. It's kind of odd, but we'll see.
Well, he's not winning that much in competitive, especially. He has really one of the worst winning rates of any support,
Really?
and that's because but that's because he doesn't have any reliable stun. He's just a pusher, and you play puffs with noobs, Keeper of the Lights that just keep pushing the lane and they don't let you farm. So in puffs, it's kind of like this kind of hero that, if played wrong, it hurts your team.
I feel like if they buff him too much, they're gonna have to get rid of his horse. That's the nerf.
Yep, that'll be. But then he would have like 2 legs instead of 4.
Yeah.
Mind. Move next one, please.
All right. Next we got Diabolic Edict for last year. We have we talked about this briefly, but the Diabolic Edict now takes cast animation time, which means he's still going to be the same for like pushing towers and stuff, but it will be very difficult to chase people with this if you don't have a setup stun.
Yep, that's just it. You just said everything about that skill.
I feel so
That's
smart.
the impact. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say about that. It's just harder to chase now. Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. Leshrac is such a powerful hero. He really is a powerful hero. Now, removing that chasing power hurts, especially at early levels. But will it make a difference? We'll have to see. It's one of those small changes that don't make a huge impact until it does, and you miss that kill because of that, and you say, "Oh, god damn you, Ice Frog," and you shake your fist.
Yeah, and I don't.
He's turning into my favorite hero. So if they hurt him too much, I'ma cry.
Yeah,
you will.
And he's obviously notorious for having like some of the worst cast animation times ever. And another person similar to that is Lina, and they just keep buffing Fiery Soul over and over. And I feel like they should just make her cast animation time just a little bit faster, and she'll be good to go. That's all she really needs. But
She's a step away from being freaking ridiculous scary though. So
yeah, but she's literally almost never played competitively, just occasionally in certain lineups. I don't know.
she might be one of those heroes that's never played until you make a teeny adjustment, and then she's the best hero in the game.
But they keep buffing Fiery Soul, which Lina players don't even get at this point. And even if they do, they have to be, I mean, they're usually support for that matter. So you'd have to be like level whatever, like 10 to start leveling it. So
they're just distracting the masses from her true potential.
All right. Fair enough.
Well, the thing is that, I mean, it's still 255% increased attack speed.
Oh, it's
level
definitely
4.
good, yeah.
So in any other hero, you'd put the spell and say, "Oh, that's Imba, that's so powerful." But it's Lina, so it's okay. And I don't know, I have fun stomping pubs and going with damage items on Lina, and actually it works. But I don't know, maybe someday, again, like I told before, someone will realize how to properly build Lina. Maybe you go Medallion early or something like that, and you go Max Fire Soul and just 1 point on each of the other skills. Maybe you make her a killing machine or something. I don't know. Someone has to try that. And eventually, if they keep buffing and buffing and buffing Fire Soul, one day it will work. And I will be happy. Like with Battle Hunger, he keeps buffing every single patch. Fire Soul is the other stall. Well, who knows?
My double butterfly Deso build will come to fruition.
Next we have, well, this is probably the most notable change as far as nerfs are concerned. Lycan. His wolves, they cost 20 mana more, which may not seem like very much, but of course in the beginning of the game it's going to be quite a bit. And actually, I don't even think he can jungle anymore. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But the HP has been essentially halved, but then he gets 50% magic resistance, which means that he isn't as good with towers or physical damage, but spells... Or, I'm sorry, he isn't very good against magical spells, which it's kind of weird because, I mean, nobody really... I guess for like team fights and AoE, he can survive that, which is good. But against any physical damage, it's going to get decimated.
Yep.
Well, it's gonna stop some of those like heavy dual lane push strats that people run. It's gonna hurt that a little bit, but other than that, he's still gonna be a ridiculous hero.
Well, can he jungle with 200 health on his wolves?
I tried, and I still haven't found a way other than very efficient with this, like stacking lots of consumables and tanking all the creep yourself, which you can do with any hero. I haven't found the proper way to actually jungle. I tried like 4 times already in single player.
How much Dota 1 have you been playing? Good lord.
I've been playing quite a lot. But I wanted to try this before they came to Dota 2 so that they would come, that you'd call me. I would know what to say. Otherwise, you know, I'm crazy prepared.
There you go. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. All right, moving on. We have, well, let's see. Okay. And actually, I wanted to have Korok on for this specific question. Just for the Morphling question. So many things nerfed for this guy, but the main one I think is 20 to 30 mana per second for his morph ability, which means early to mid game he really needs to get those mana. Well, I mean, he already gets mana regen, but it's still gonna be a major hit for him overall.
It will be, and it will hurt him a lot until mid game, which eventually, you know, you get to this point where you have lots of mana and you don't even care too much about morphing like for 20 seconds straight because you can't afford it. But early and mid games you can't. Although I have to disagree with you, this is really a strong change, but also something huge is the -6 base damage, because that gives Morphling something like 35 and 41 base damage, something like that. It's almost like Techies. He has no base damage at all. And of course you can go Morph Agility and give him some more, but that will make him squishier. So
Well, I think that's needed though, because I think the problem with before, you would morph to agility, but you still have enough health or enough time to activate your strength.
Yep.
It should be like a risk-reward situation. If you're gonna boost your damage, you should be squishy as crap. That's how I feel. But yeah, you're right. That's a definite big change, and I think it's welcome because I don't know about you, but during the international, we watched every single game essentially, and I would almost fall asleep like every time Morphling was being played.
Yep.
Just these long ass games. So I'm happy.
Except for the tiny one.
Yes,
the tiny
true.
wisp one.
That is
But
true.
that was an exception.
That's an anomaly.
Yeah, I think that every single change for Morphling was spot on. The cast animation time and the fact that you can't attack or cast during waveform makes the shotgun really, really clunky now, because it's like Ethereal Blade. Oh no, waveform. Oh no, it's really, really slow. Before you could just waveform, during the waveform, you Ethereal Blade and the other stuff, and it was just all together in a single shot.
Yeah, no
Now
more
it's
waveform
slower.
TPs either.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I mean, with that, it gives you more time to, say, pop a VKV, pop a Shadow Blade, try and do something about it, heal yourself, whatever. And that will hurt Shotgun Morphling, which was really silly before. And the waveform AoE decrease from 255 to 200 is also a lot. I mean, it's one of those things that... Okay.
Keep going. Reason.
Yep.
Disconnected.
Yeah, Reaves just disconnected. Okay. One of the things about waveform is that you'll start seeing that you'll miss stuff that you didn't miss before, and that will change. It's like, why did I kill that guy? Because now you're too thin. It's like Morphling went on a diet. Now he's not as fat as before, and he can't waveform fatty things and hit lots of people. Or maybe it's a water shortage in the world.
Yeah, maybe. Actually, I can't hear you, by the way, Reeves, in case you're trying to talk. The whole fat thing you're talking about, I don't know why. This is going to be a completely random tangent, but remember when they changed the icon for Blink Dagger to a really fat version?
Yep.
My joke was that it just went on vacation to America for a while. What do you think about that? We're all fat here in America. Reeves, we can't hear you, bro. Noob. All right, we're going to continue without you until you fix your god-awful mic. Next one we got on the list here is Necrolite Sadist being reworked. Essentially, it's a bunch of mana regen and HP regeneration for each. I mean, in the whole grand scheme of things, the mana regeneration is the same technically. You just get it over time now, but also HP on top of that. Do you think this is going to change a whole lot?
I think it will, because the things about Necrolite is that he has such low range in the death pulse that he has to be in the middle of the fight. And he will constantly pop that because it has such a low cooldown, and he'll start killing things, creeps, heroes, all that stuff. He needs the HP regen. Before the Sadist rework, where you would give him like 600 mana for killing a hero at level 4, you'd have to go like Bloodstone or things that would give him lots of mana regen and HP regen. After they changed Sadist at level 4, they were like, okay, now we don't need mana regen, but we still need HP regen. Now you could arguably say that you don't really, really need any of both. You just have to make yourself tanky and fat, which of course will give you mana and HP regen by themselves, because you'll buy items that have both the stuff. But you'll have those covers from the get-go. And most importantly, the 600 mana per hero worked only at level 4. And now it works at every single level. It works like 200 mana, 400, 600, and 1000 mana. And also 100 HP, 203, 400 HP. Every time you kill a hero. So I expect that if you get to this point where you're tanky enough and you don't need to go too tanky as you did before, just stand in the middle there, kill stuff, and it will be kind of like when you're playing against zombie and dying, that you can't kill him because we regenerate so fast, and that will be Necrolite soon. I'm really excited because it's one of my favorite heroes, and it felt a bit lacking, and this rework might be just the thing that we needed to get the hero back on stage.
So Reaves just messaged and said, I accidentally made a macro on my Nito keyboard. Got to restart. It won't stop. So that's fine. We'll wait for you to restart, Reaves. Anyway, moving on. Actually, I said we'll wait. We're not going to wait. Absolutely
No, we're
not.
not waiting.
Next one, Nerubian Assassin, also known as Nyx Assassin. These. All right, so I need to go off on a little bit of tangent here. Spiked Carapace. God, I don't know if I want to bring this up because people are going to hate me for bringing up Han. There is an ultimate in Han.
Yep.
Right? Nomad, it's almost exactly like this. It's an
Yep.
ultimate. This is like one of the most ridiculous skills. So for people that don't know, before it was a 4-second period while Spike Carapace was activated that the first instance of damage you would reflect and you would stun the target. Now it's 2.5 seconds, but during that entire 2.75 seconds, during that entire time, any instance of damage, as long as it's from a different target, will have the same effect. What do you think about this?
Well, it's strong. I mean, the whole Spike Carapace was really, really good for me. Because it was not only about reflecting damage, which was really fun when you have a Keeper of the Light in front of you. We would charge his Hadok and you pop that and hurt him instead.
Yeah.
But also it was really good because you could cancel stuff like Black Hole or channeling stuff that... I mean, Black Hole was the key example. You can't Black Hole Nerubian Assassin because Nyx Assassin because as long as he sees you, he just pops the Spike Carapace, and that means you can't even start unless you have BKB. But now it's stronger than that because if you manage to be there, like say you pop in between all these guys with Vendetta when the team's fight starts, and you like hit with your Vendetta and do that stuff, people will attack, and if the other team has lots of AoE, they will all suddenly get stunned. And I also saw that in a game. I haven't played Nyx Assassin in Dota 1, but a friend of mine, which I was testing with, was playing that, and if the other team has enough AoE, everyone gets stunned for 2.4 seconds. It's like having a free Tide Hunter ult.
It's ridiculous.
It's really strong. One thing about Nomad, you mentioned Hana, let's go with that just for a bit, was that, yeah, I mean, it was that guy, and the way it worked, it was kind of harder for people to actually focus on him. I think that the skill set of Nyx Assassin is perfect for that because you go in this, you target a hero that's between other 4, and the moment they see you, they want to hit you. It's a reflex. You want to kill that guy. You want to throw everything you have at that guy. And that's why you have Spike Carapace there, because now you kill the guy and you stun the other ones and you just go running away happily, like Reaves in a field.
Reaves in the field, butt naked in the field, run around. Yeah.
Yep, that's my mental image.
That's
Not a good one.
Next on the list, and actually I'm just going to briefly mention a couple things. Ogre Magi is a little bit more of a pusher. Well, I guess it is directly Bloodlust on catapults. Brewmaster, nerf to him. Primal, his ulti will not go through black hole, which I think is good. Before he was looked at as an ancient.
They also changed the way smoke works, so you can't. I mean, he can't dispel smoke with the. I mean, yeah. I know I'm going a bit farther, but it's related. Fine. So I mean, yeah, the black hole is a nerf, but also a buff that you can't escape him anymore, like just popping a smoke and walking willy-nilly. You can't see me because your pandas are blind.
Yeah, and I think that's more of something like it just makes more sense kind of thing as opposed to balancing, because I mean he's played, but just not at a ridiculous level. It's not like he's overpowered or anything. So that's why people are questioning why they did that, because it's a little bit of a nerf. Because he was, I'm not gonna say he was directly a counter to Enigma, but he was a pretty good freaking counter. I mean, you'd have to get BKB to avoid all that. So
yep,
I think that's a pretty decent nerf, and expect him to perhaps get buffed in the next patch. I don't know. We'll see. Pit Lord got a bunch of changes, which we're not even going to go over because he's not in Dota 2 yet. Coup de Grace, wow, 4.5 crit. That's ridiculous. But Phantom Lancer is this is the most stat gain growth thingy in a patch I have ever seen. I could be wrong, but well, I'm not wrong because I've ever seen. But what do you think? 2.8 to 4.2.
Here I have to contradict myself because I'm one of the person. I'm really a fan of those -1 armor nerfs or +1 armor buffs to change your hero, and I think that those really small early game buffs really change, or nerfs change your hero a lot. Like they did that with Anti-Mage when he was picked every single time, and partly because of that, he's not picked as regularly as it was before. But the thing with stat changes, when the stat growth, that means that it only changes a lot and you can only notice it after level 10 or so. Before that, it's not that big of a deal because you don't realize +3 attack speed or +3 damage because you can buy a cheap item and get that. I think about Phantom Lancer, it's all flash. it's like, whoa, 2.8 to 4.2, this is great, this is awesome. And believe me, at level 25 it is. It's 4,300 gold worth of damage in items. I mean, in free stats. But you have to get there. And Phantom Lancer's problem was not the late game. Although I have to admit, it had a tough time versus other equally farmed carries. The problem with Phantom Lancer is getting there, like snowballing to the point where you're fat enough so that your illusions can tank everything and push the lanes and getting that radiance or that heart or whatever you're going for. So I think that the growth is okay, actually. It will help him get those items that he really needs, and it will save him from getting other items that he needed to have, because otherwise he would have no damage. His illusions will have no damage. So even though it sounds great and it looks like, oh, it's a lot of damage, it's just an okay buff. And I don't think that Phantom Lancer will get to the top of the pick list just because of that.
I think it's kind of like the Drow buff. They're buffing something that, I mean, it helps, I think, over time, but they're not really addressing the issue. The real issue is that for the most part, invisibility is just so counterable, especially on the competitive level. And kind of like with Drow, they're just adding, more damage to him, even though he doesn't really need, or her. Hey, Reaves.
I don't even know how I managed to do that.
Why don't you tell the story?
Go ahead.
Do we have time?
By all means.
Oh, of course.
Well, basically, I have this awesome Black Widow keyboard, which, by the way, is awesome. If anybody's thinking, those guys over at Razer, they make keyboards. Anywho, there's macro things you can set, and you have to hit these like 3 keys together, and it starts the like, okay, you want to make a macro, and then you hit another 3 keys, and it's like recording macro, and then you have to like start the macro. Somehow, completely by accident, I did all of those things and accidentally macroed out basically me talking to you guys in between scrolling on the page on this website. So it kept trying to talk to you, and then it would scroll the website and talk to you, and then scroll the website.
Reaves, how do you accomplish these things?
I don't know, and I couldn't get it to stop.
You can macro talking?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Whoa.
I guess I can. I mean, if I had to do it again, I probably couldn't figure out how, but I've done it.
Only you, Reaves.
Yeah.
Only you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I had to.
It really is.
Thank you, website Team Liquid, for helping me out with fixing that problem.
Wow, pretty typical.
Oh well.
Reaves he's actually a really good beta tester, because he finds these bugs and things like that nobody ever comes across.
They're like, nobody will ever hit the keys in this order. They have no reason to. I'm that guy. You need me in there testing your shit.
That's a talent. That's a really good talent.
One of many, Bruno.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what we're going to call it. Quote unquote talent. That's what we call it.
I like this guy. I have him on more often. It's not a failure, and it's not being downsy. It's a talent.
It's a talent. Hidden talent.
All right, moving on. We're going to skip down the list a little bit here, and I don't know how far Reaves is from actually loading the page. I'm sure quite a while, but
it's up.
Kind of I'm going to call it it's cool, but it's kind of gimmicky in nature. I don't know how much difference it's going to make. Is Shadow Fiend. Upon death, his ultimate will activate with half the charges, and it will not count towards cooldown. So essentially, you can ultimate and then die, and then you will half ultimate right afterwards. What do you think?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. That's also great because, I mean, his ultimate is so powerful that double ultimate, or 1.5, is 1.5 times more powerful. But also, I mean, let's say you're a Phantom Assassin, a melee hero that's trying to kill Shadow Fiend, you have to be careful, because now when you kill him, even if he didn't pop, I mean, forget about using his ultimate. Now, if you're toe-to-toe against Shadow Fiend, he's hitting you, you're losing life, you're killing him, you have to be careful, because if you get to a point where you're really, really low as a melee hero, you can't try and kill Shadow Fiend, because otherwise he'll kill you as well. So this will bring a lot of mind games to the whole idea. Yeah, of course, you probably will want to kill him regardless. But now you know that by doing that, it's like killing a techie that will suicide and he will kill you. Now Shadow Fiend has a little bit of techie soul. Maybe he killed him so many times that he absorbed techie soul with himself and learned to suicide himself. Wouldn't that be cool? But that's what he does now, and I mean it hurts. It hurts. That's the main change there, not the double ultimate gimmicky stuff that you mentioned, which is cool. Will be nice. That will be for the top 10, not the first of the week, for the top 10. But this whole idea where you, as a melee hero, you have to be careful against Shadowfin. Remember, there's also slow involved. So if you kill him first and the rest of the team is still there, you will be slowed. It will hurt. The other teammate will kill you.
And damage reduction. Everybody always forgets about the damage reduction. It's like 25% or something like that. Pretty freaking good. I hope you're right.
Well, think about all those times. Like it can't just happen to me, but I guess it's a possibility. Of like he's picked up a Shadow Blade and poof, all of a sudden there is an ulting guy right next to you, and you're not gonna get away. So you're like, fuck it, I'll eat it, and then do my best with my teammate here to kill him before he rips our faces off with his plus damage. And now you can't really do that, because if you sit there and attack and he gets a couple attacks and you kill him, he's still gonna get the kill. So like Bruno said.
All right, moving on, we have well, I feel like a lot of these changes, like Sniper, for example, are just minor tweaks, and they really are minor. They're just, it's like Ice Frog's like, you should try this hero out. Come on, try him again.
Did you guys mention Enigma while I was gone?
No.
No.
I wanted to know if the mana is gonna. I don't play him very much, so I don't know. But all of his his black hole is like plus 50 mana now on each level. Is it gonna be that big of a hit?
I think for jungling it is. I heard Purge saying that Soul Ring might not be enough now, which, yeah, I think it'll change a little bit. I don't know why like everybody gets level 2 and 3 black hole every time. Like you don't really need it.
You don't need
it's
it.
just damage. I mean, most of the damage. If you're gonna get a good black hole, you better hope that your team does the damage, because you shouldn't rely on your damage. So I don't know if it's gonna make that big of a difference.
That's right. I expect them to change level 2 and 3 a little bit, because the way it is right now, it's like the old Sven ultimate. You wouldn't level it past 1 because the increase in damage was not good enough. Here it's the same. I mean, you're just paying 100 and 200 more mana for what, 50, 60 more damage per ultimate? Right. That doesn't really make sense. Going back to Sniper a little bit. Yeah, it's right. They are just small changes like plus 15 damage and headshot, plus 40 range and take aim, plus 10 range in the AoE of Shrapnel, which is nothing. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's just like Iceru seems to know where he wants to go with Sniper, and he's happy he's there. But it seems like it's a bit underwhelming here or there. So it's just putting the values a little bit up. And right now, Sniper is actually a good mid. If you max a headshot and take aim, you can go mid and try it in your low-level pub, and you see that you'll have an easy time last hitting. They will have a hard time harassing you, and when they get next to the creep wave, if you're facing a melee hero, that hero will receive so much damage that it's not even funny. So I don't know. I mean, Sniper is kind of this position where he needs to be discovered again. Of course, he has all his flaws. He has no escape mechanism. His slow is quite bad at best. But I don't know. I mean, he definitely has a role there. He's the guy with range, but he can bring much more than that to the table.
I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go the route of like Phantom Lancer or who else did we talk about? Drow, where they just buff him even more. I mean, if they're not going to change him, because I think his biggest issue is, I think Shrapnel's one of the worst skills in the game. I know people are going to disagree with me. I think it's just terrible skill, and they should just replace it or make it infinitely better.
I would love it if it was like, instead of 350 AoE, if it was like a 500 AoE, it would automatically become a team fight spell.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, again, it's 20% slow, which is not that much, but in a team fight, you make everyone move 20% slower. Now you have a skill that no one else has. Even if you remove the damage component, which is not too much in itself, it is. Like if you stay there all the time, you get like 300 damage. No one stays there. But even if you remove or nerf that part, if you make the AoE bigger, you have now an interesting teamfight skill, and heroes like Sniper, they need a teamfight skill.
Couldn't agree more. So, Bruno the stat man, balancing heroes one at a time.
Yep, it's hard work.
Reaves should make his own list of balances, and we can compare and contrast.
Beams,
lasers,
checkbooks.
Sniper would have to have like 2 penises, I think, like a double-headed penis.
I think you're missing the joke.
I'm going off on my own tangent, Reaves. All right,
You're
anyway,
so
moving
good
on.
too. See what happens when I go highbrow with you? It's just blank stare. All right.
All right, so one of the
go
bigger
ahead.
changes, Spirit Breaker, and I am very excited about this. So essentially, well, there's some nerfs and I think more buffs than anything. Now, as a pub Spirit Breaker player, the one thing you would, it just felt like you had, I felt like I had to max all my skills. Like none of them you could just leave at level 1. Now, Charge of Darkness, you'll see level 1 is almost equivalent. It's close to a level 4 from previous. So you can just get by with a level 1 Charge of Darkness. But the big couple things here changed are no longer a buff indicator, which means better for ganking. Of course, fits the theme for this patch. And also, Greater Bash now has, well, I guess the Empowering Haste no longer has the Spirit Breaker damage, but of course, that's a little bit mitigated by the base strength he gained along with the damage. But now it's kind of like a more RNG factor where if you get a bash, it's 40%. What was it? 40% of your speed and damage.
Yep.
What do you guys think of this change? These changes, a lot of them.
I think you forgot the most important part is that Greater Batch will finally go through magic immune units.
Yeah. Yep.
That's the big thing, because the problem with the Spirit Breaker was that if the other guy had a BKB or Nags with Rage or anything, you just kept attacking and you wouldn't get any bashes. And the good thing about these bashing heroes like Boyd, like Slardar, or whoever, Troll Warlord, which is not in Dota 2 yet, was that no matter who you had in front, if the guy had a BKB or he had a channeling ultimate or whatever with BKB, you could cancel that because the bash would go through that. Spirit Breaker was the only one that was not doing that. And because it says fixed and not changed, it seems like it was an oversight. And that's a huge thing, because it's not only his bash, his like attack animation bash, but also his ultimate. So you have again like kind of like the way Beastmaster has, you have an ultimate that go through BKB and cancel stuff, and you can even go through things like Enigma, which even that you have to get close to that, it won't stop your ultimate. So you can cancel black holes as well. Again, it gives you the same power of stopping stuff like Beastmaster does right now. But also gives you this whole other different set of abilities that are great for ganking. As you said before, now Empowering Haste is not something you need anymore early game. You can just forget about it. Greater Bash, you'll get like 450 move speed, which means that you'll do 180 damage per bash. That's the best bash you'll get damage-wise. So, and the duration is also quite long. 1.6 at level 4 is really good. I say that Spirit Breaker is a really interesting hero to play now, because again, it gives you something that's reliable against BKB, which he didn't bring you before, and he's a nasty ganker, because no more charges of darkness means that he'll just be there. You won't see him coming. That big fat cow, you won't see her coming.
All you can do is pop a smoke, and you won't be seen by wards either. So beautiful stuff.
Well, it's one of those. It's another one of those changes where they're just like all these changes making him a more viable hero. So hopefully we'll see him in play more often and won't get so many fail clips of him. So many.
Well, I think we're gonna continue to get some, and I think this needs to be fixed. He gets stuck in trees just way too easily. Like if you're charging and the guy's like on the other side of the tree, you'll get stuck before you hit him. Essentially, it's kind of ridiculous. So hopefully they fix
happens a lot. Yeah.
Going with wow, this one is actually huge. Well, actually, let me quickly. Let's not. We're going way over the time. So Ravage decreased as far as the speed that it travels. So that's going to give people like Rubik more time to force stuff out of it in time, which is good for people with terrible reaction time like myself. But Treant Protector, Living Armor. Well, we'll start with his other stuff first. Base damage increased by 14, but his attack time is reduced. Overgrowth no longer does any damage, but will last longer. Now, first we'll start with that. What do you guys think?
I think that's fine.
I
don't have any issue with it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I played Trend Protector as one of the other heroes that I played a lot during these days. The cooldown is a big thing. I mean, 80 seconds cooldown means that you have it every team fight. That's huge. The no damage is of course a nerf, and the longer duration is a buff. Now, if you put this and this together, is it better? Is it worse? As long as you play it as a support hero, which is how he's meant to be played, and you don't go like crazy items. You used to go Radiance way back then in Trend Protector. Now he's not. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Now you're not meaning to play him like that now. Of course you still can, but I don't think that's the way they'll try to play him in a competitive game. Now he's a support. You can put him in the suicide lane because with the nature's guys you can like be perma invisible and just leech some farm or whatever and use that living armor, which we'll speak about in a minute, to help the other guys. But the thing is that this all goes to overgrowth. Is it better? Is it worse? It's slightly better in a teamfight environment. In a solo environment, it's much worse because if you want to solo kill someone, you used to go overgrowth that will reduce like a third of his life with the auto attacks and literally you will kill him. Now you can't do that. I tried it a lot and I found myself dying or running away more than I could kill people. So if you play him as he's supposed to be played, it's a buff. If you play him aggressively and selfishly like we all like to play him, that's a nerf.
Right.
Well said.
And then the living armor now is changed as it's a global skill, single target. You can use it on towers to, I think it's 200 health over a 20-second period, or you can put it on a hero which will do the same and give them an 80 physical damage block. Now this, people have been talking about putting tree with, you get like an invisibility, invis skill, whatever it's called, in like a side lane solo, and you just keep casting this living armor on your mid hero and they automatically win the lane. It seems ridiculously OP early to mid game.
It is very strong. It is not OP.
Everything's
I
OP.
mean, everything's OP. It is really good. The fun thing about playing Trent right now is that I find myself not looking at my lane at all because I know that I won't probably. I'm going to the suicide lane. I won't get any farm. I'm just there to leech experience, try to refresh the nature's guys and myself, maybe. But you're looking at whatever. This is really fun because early game you're looking at the other lanes. You're looking at your teammates play. You can flame them easier because you're looking at them, and you know when something's going to happen. You just pop the living armor on the guy that's tanking some damage or going 1-to-1 to contest a rune or something, or if you see a tower that's a bit damaged, you pop it into a tower. It's like very, very active. You don't have, kind of like playing Tinker mid to late game where you're constantly doing something. You have no moment of respite.
It's like an RTS game. You're playing like tower defense, basically.
Exactly. You're constantly doing, you have always something to do, and I love the heroes that you always have to do something because that's the way it was, and it's so cheap in mana. I mean, it's 30 mana at level 1.
Yeah.
It's so cheap that you can constantly spam it and don't worry about getting out of mana at all because you'll regen that by the time you get it again. So it's a really, really fun spell. OP, I don't think so, but it will be OP the first 2 weeks when people don't know what it does, and people will solo people with living armor and say, why isn't he not dying? It's like playing Templar Assassin all over again. And that's the good thing about it. It's a really nice hero now. I really like it.
All right, moving on to the items, since we're way over time right now.
Way over.
Shadow Amulet being put into the game, which it's meh. It's nothing special. It's just something that you add into the Shadow Blade to create it. Do you think this is actually going to get used? Like I don't see it.
I've been trying lots of Shadow Amulet today. Just before you talked to me, I was trying this item because there are lots of stuff that you can do with this item. The interesting thing about this, and I think no one covered this before now, so you have you're the first guys to will be telling people this, is that Shadow Amulet, when you cast it, you have a fade time. I mean, for people who don't know what the spell does, you have 2.75 fade time in which you shouldn't move, and if you don't move for 2.75 seconds, you go invisible. But when you move, it loses the invisible stuff. The thing is that the fade time means that you can't move, but you can keep attacking people. You can cast spells. You can do crazy stuff. Like if you're an anti-mage, but I don't know why an anti-mage would have a Shadow Amulet, but you can blink, for example. So you can cast Shadow Amulet on yourself, and while it's casting, you can blink. It won't be cancelled, and you will go invis once you blinked. So you'll be invis on the other side, stuff like that. People will not know where you blink to.
Next level strategy right there.
Yeah, and you can also, like, for example, you can farm Roshan if you have enough damage because you attack him and pop the Shadow Amulet. By the time he gets to hit you, if you're a ranged hero, you go in beast and he says, oh no, you're not there anymore. He goes back and you start attacking him again. And you go back and forth and you can
That
attack
sounds like
Roshan.
a really, really long Roshan.
What's the cooldown on this item? Is it just...
No
cooldown.
cooldown, no mana.
Oh, wow.
So there are some
I'm gonna get this on
gimmicky
every
things
hero.
that you can do.
If they made the stats good, you could get it on a support hero. Like Crystal Maiden can actually get her ult off, or Witch Doctor for that matter.
Yeah.
But it's 30 attack speed.
It's 30 attack speed. It's like a Beatus, and
I honestly think this is something they're going to be adding into something else later. It doesn't make any sense why they would even bother with this. other than the next level stuff you're talking about.
Veno.
Venomancer.
Veno. Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about, but the armlet toggle from 5 to 1 second. Don't send any more armlet plays to top 10, please, because that's going to be way too many. And I think, let me just check here. The last thing we're going to mention is
E-Blade.
Yeah, Ethereal Blade. Enormous changes to this. The mana, first of all, is probably the least amount, from 50 to 150 mana, which is another nerf to Morphling, of course. But now, Ether Blast can be used on allies, meaning you can prevent them from getting hit from physical damage, but in the meantime, they'll take 40% more magical damage. So it could be a troll item as well. But also, the damage dealt will be based on the primary attribute of the holder instead of agility, which, like I was mentioning, somebody like a Centaur could be, or even OD, could be ridiculous on, except for the fact that to build it, you need to get an Eagle Song, which is garbage on that. So, what do you guys think?
Though hilarious.
If they made it so you could switch it like treads, this would be the best item in the game.
It would be really, really good. I think this is one of those items that in theory look great. In practice, you will get like a troll item. I mean,
it's like a Dagon.
Yeah, it's like a Dagon. I show you Dagon 5, and I mean, it's great. It's a great item, but in real life, it doesn't work like that. Well, real life, real Dota life, you know what I mean.
Dota is real life.
I've been using my Dagon for days now, and it's not doing shit.
Is that a pseudonym for your penis?
That actually is a... From this day forward, you will be known as Dagon.
Dagon 6. Anyway.
My penis approves.
I don't know. I mean, it's still a gimmicky item, and hopefully, maybe someone will find a way to make it work on Patch, which gets lots of strength, or in Silencer, which gets lots of intelligence, stuff like that. But I will not be convinced until I see it.
Yep. Only time will tell. So with that, any last words from you, Reaves, or Bruno? Thanks for joining us as usual, of course.
It's been a pleasure. Go, Reaves. Say something.
Dagon 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna go level up my Dagon. You know what I mean? But this was fun. It was long, but it was fun. Thank you, Bruno, for showing up.
It was long. Your Dagon or the what?
Right? See what I did there? See, I knew you'd get it. SUNSfan glazed over eyes, but you got it.
Oh well. Yeah, it's been great. It's been fun. Thank you for having me here, guys. And I hope the guys that have been listening to us for over an hour are still enjoying this. And
they're playing with their Dagon 6 now, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. For Bruno and Reaves, my name is SUNSfan. Until next time. Sorry this was so... Well, actually, I shouldn't say sorry. I told you beforehand this was going to be a long one. And that's what happens. All right. Later, guys. Love you.
Bye-bye.